You won't believe what has quietly been unfolding behind the scenes, and before you scroll away, hit the like button and subscribe right now, because what you're about to hear regarding the IQD and VND could genuinely shift how you look at global currency movements in 2025. For months, people have been talking loudly about the big news, the big events, the bold predictions, but the real power has been in the silent signals, the kind that never make it to mainstream headlines, the kind that analysts discuss only in private circles, and the kind that eventually shape whether a currency strengthens, stabilizes, or completely reshifts the global financial map. When we look at the IQD, for example, most viewers hear about revaluation as a big, dramatic overnight event. But the truth is that the movements that matter are subtle, consistent, and deeply tied to economic fundamentals like oil exports, fiscal restructuring, foreign reserve buildup, anti-corruption enforcement, and the way international agreements position Iraq's currency for long-term integration. These aren't rumors. These are structural markers that economists track regularly. And when we zoom into 2025, a pattern emerges. One that shows why so many traders and global watchers believe that Iraq is transitioning from reactive economic policies toward a more disciplined, forward-looking model. At the same time, the Vietnamese Dong has been quietly carving out a unique position in Southeast Asia, benefiting from rising foreign investment, manufacturing migration out of China, and steady monetary policy that avoids abrupt shocks while gradually strengthening long-term investor confidence. When both currencies are studied together, what becomes clear is that neither one operates in a vacuum. Instead, both are influenced by global interest rate cycles, U.S. monetary tightening or easing, energy market shifts, and regional trade agreements. That is exactly why today's silent signals matter more than viral speculation. These are the details that major institutional investors monitor when deciding whether a currency is undervalued or poised for gradual upward movement. If you've ever wondered why global currencies don't suddenly RV overnight, it's because real revaluation isn't a button, it's a process, one that builds through policy alignment, reserve strengthening, and cross-border economic harmonization. And as we move further into 2025, both Iraq and Vietnam have shown increased interest in stabilizing long-term exchange rates, improving digital infrastructure, and tightening compliance measures that align with international standards. These aren't speculative fantasies. These are verifiable developments that signal real effort behind monetary reform. And the most important point for every viewer is this. Understanding these silent indicators gives you a clearer, more realistic picture of what's actually happening and what could happen next. So don't miss any part of this breakdown. Stay until the end and make sure you're subscribed because this information can help you stay ahead of the curve while everyone else is reacting late. Before we jump deeper, hit the like button because the second layer of this story may be the most eye-opening analysis you hear today, especially if you've been following IQD and VND updates for years, waiting for a moment of clarity that cuts through speculation and focuses on what truly shapes currency trajectories. When we examine the Iraqi Dinar's position going into 2025, one of the silent yet powerful shifts occurring is Iraq's slow but steady improvement in financial governance, including monitoring foreign transactions more efficiently, tightening auditing standards, and enhancing transparency within its central banking operations. These developments are not quick headline-grabbing announcements, but they are the backbone of how currencies gain credibility. Alongside that, Iraq has been reinforcing energy sector capacity, improving crude production, and strengthening partnerships with global players, which directly feeds into national revenue, a core driver of IQD stability. Meanwhile, Vietnam's Dong, historically stable but restricted in volatility, has been benefiting from rising manufacturing exports, stronger supply chain integration, and increased geopolitical interest from investors seeking alternatives to larger markets. Many people assume that currency growth happens through political declarations or sudden decisions, but real valuation is a reflection of markets responding to consistent progress over months and years. When we piece together the broader 2025 narrative, we find that both Iraq and Vietnam are focusing heavily on aligning domestic economic policies with international expectations, particularly around digital banking, foreign reserve accumulation, and anti-fraud monitoring, all essential components for long-term stability. One of the least discussed signals, however, is how global shifts in trade routes, oil pricing, and U.S. inflation control influence emerging market currencies. For example, if U.S. interest rates ease gradually in 2025, that alone can create breathing room for currencies like the IQD and VND, allowing them to attract more capital inflow without unnecessary exchange rate pressure. This is where the silent signals become incredibly important. They tell us not where currencies are hyped to go, but where they are structurally being positioned to move. For viewers interested in smart, realistic analysis rather than exaggerated promises, these details matter more than anything else. So, if you're still watching, and I know you are, you're already steps ahead of others who rely only on rumors instead of understanding the roots behind monetary shifts. That's exactly why you should stay connected, stay subscribed, and stay engaged, because knowledge is the only real shield against financial misinformation. If you're still here, hit the like button right now, because what comes next may change how you interpret every IQD and VND update from this day forward, especially as 2025 develops into one of the most unpredictable financial years in recent memory. The final and perhaps most overlooked silent signal is how global institutions, not just national governments, are interacting with emerging market currencies. Entities like international banks, trade oversight bodies, and cross-border payment networks play a massive role in shaping how quickly countries like Iraq and Vietnam can strengthen their currency positions. One example is how stricter international transaction frameworks push countries toward adopting cleaner financial procedures, which builds long-term trust and ultimately affects currency attractiveness. Iraq has been under significant pressure to modernize its systems, and 2025 marks a noticeable pivot toward compliance-driven operations that reduce black market activity and help stabilize the dinar. Meanwhile, Vietnam continues to leverage foreign investment trends, positioning itself as a manufacturing epicenter with competitive labor costs and increasing technological adoption. This boosts economic resilience and contributes quietly but powerfully to the Dong stability. Another silent signal many overlook is how digital transformation affects currencies. As more countries modernize banking infrastructure, digital payment systems, and cross-border settlement technology, the need for consistent and predictable exchange rates becomes even more important. This incentivizes governments to maintain stronger monetary frameworks, benefiting long-term currency health. Beyond that, geopolitical factors remain significant. Trade alliances, regional stability, and export diversification continue shaping both Iraq's and Vietnam's economic trajectory. And while some people expect sudden revaluations, the truth is that global markets respond to steadiness, credibility, and structural improvements, exactly the kind we're witnessing quietly but consistently. So, as you continue watching updates throughout 2025, remember that the real story lies in the signals that don't trend on social media, the changes that happen in policy rooms and economic reports rather than public announcements. If you want to stay informed with clarity, accuracy, and real analysis, then this channel is your best source for understanding the bigger picture. And before you go, make sure you subscribe, hit the bell icon, drop a comment, and share this video so the truth behind these currencies reaches more people who deserve real, data-based explanations, not hype, not rumors, but genuine insight. Your support helps this community grow, and your engagement ensures these important updates continue reaching viewers around the world. Stay alert, stay informed, and stay connected.